Welcome to this video on rational numbers. Students interpret signed numbers in context together with their sums, differences, products, and quotients. Here are the essential vocabulary words that will be introduced in the unit: withdrawal and deposit. Students review what they have learned about negative numbers in grade 6, including placing them on the number line, comparing and ordering them, and interpreting them in context of temperature and elevation. The context of temperature helps build students' intuition about signed numbers because most students know what it means for a temperature to be negative and are familiar with representing temperatures on a number line using a thermometer. The context of elevation may be less familiar to students, but it provides a concrete as well as a cultural example of one of the most fundamental uses of signed numbers, representing position along a line relative to a reference point. Sea level is this case. Students will be adding and subtracting with negative numbers. We can represent this on a number line using arrows. The arrow for a positive number points to the right, and the arrow for a negative number points to the left. We add numbers by putting the arrows tip to tail. For example, here is a number line that shows -5 plus 12 equals 7. The first number is represented by an arrow that starts at 0 and points 5 units to the left. The next number is represented by an arrow that starts directly above the tip of the first arrow and points 12 units to the right. The answer is 7, because the tip of this arrow ends above the 7 on the number line. In elementary school, students learn that every addition equation has two relative subtraction equations. For example, if we know that 3 plus 5 equals 8, we then also know 8 minus 5 equals 3 and 8 minus 3 equals 5. The same thing works when there are negative numbers in the equation. For this situation, -5 plus 12 equals 7. We also know that 7 minus 12 equals -5, and 7 minus a -5 equals 12. Students will be multiplying and dividing with negative numbers. The rules for multiplying positive and negative numbers are designed to make sure that addition and multiplication work the same way they always have. For example, in elementary school, students learn to think of 4 times 3 as 4 groups of 3, like 4 times 3 equals 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 12. We can think of 4 times -3 the same way. 4 times -3 equals -3 plus -3 plus -3 plus -3, which equals -12. Also, it is important property of multiplication is that we can multiply numbers in either order. This means that -3 times 4 equals 4 times -3, which equals -12. What about -3 times -4? It may seem strange, but the answer is 12. To answer why this is, we can think of -4 as 0 minus 4. After more practice, students will be able to remember these without needing to think about examples. A positive times a negative is a negative. A negative times a positive is also a negative. A negative times a negative is a positive.